Hi, everybody. Sorry for the delay. We got rolling blackouts here in California. I'm Jay Jennings, and my partner over here.
I'm Tom Betts.
And it's Once Upon a Time in Spaghetti Westerns, the podcast, and it's our special tribute to Banjo, William Berger. So let's get the show on the road. Well, Tom, what do you think?
That was great.
Another celebration.
You covered most of all his films right there.
Right. So the podcast's over. Thanks for joining
Let's go.
I'm Jay Jennings. I am a Spaghetti Westerns collector, which includes films, DVDs, Blu-rays, even 16 millimeter. I have a couple 8 millimeter. I collect posters, lobby cards, photo boosters, locandinas, all from all over the world, as well as autographs. You name it, I probably have it. Took almost 50 years to collect them, Tom. I met most of these people myself. A few were from estate sales, like our William Berger up here, a Banjo. I got that through an estate sale of someone who went to the actor's studio when he was known as Billy Berger, in circa 1965. So he actually signed this. I don't know if I could, let's see. I'll bring it forward. 1965, Billy Berger.
Yep.
Sweet. So anyway, as well as Banjo has joined us. Tom, what do you think about the films of William Berger?
He was an interesting actor. I mean, he was another one that when he was on screen, he drew the attention to him. And he was a product of his time. So the first film I ever saw him in was Sabata. He played Banjo. And that's what I always assumed the character was himself, that he was a hippie from the 60s. And it's not too far off. But he was a good actor. He was also a theater actor. So he knew how to act, and he always turned in a good performance.
He certainly did. I was a big fan. See if we can get a shot of Banjo. There he is. And with that famous orange, brownish hair, Tom. He looked like the fifth
strange
Beatle.
hair. Yeah, exactly.
Wasn't he in the Beatles?
He'd fit in today.
Right. I personally, we're going to talk about his films. And I guess I call him the Richard Burton of spaghetti westerns. He drank hard, played hard, had women. After the set, after it was finished, maybe him and some of the other actors or filmmakers would all get together and just throw these wild parties, and that's what he was about. So, I mean, unfortunately, it came to a semi-tragic ending, what Tom will talk about, almost similar to Peter Lee Lawrence, kind of a tragic. He's another, like the Sal Mineo, James Deans of the spaghetti westerns. So we're going to show some clips and some trailers. And Tom, do we have anything in the weekly news at the end?
Yeah, I've got a couple things this week.
Okay, awesome.
One just happened today, and the other one was a DVD release earlier in the week.
Oh, okay.
And then we've got a couple of birthdays that just passed that we want to pay homage to.
Do you want to do that now or at the end?
We can do it at the end.
Okay. So let's take a look, I guess, at his first spaghetti western, which is actually not bad for a debut, Tom. Ringo's Big
Yeah,
Night.
let me give a little bio on him before we start.
Oh, okay.
And okay, let's do that. Wilhelm Thomas Berger was born on June 20th, 1928 in Innsbruck, Austria. Both his parents were doctors, and while the family was on holiday in Italy, World War II started. They fled to the United States and settled in New York City. Here, Billy, as he was then called, attended Columbia University and took part as a member of the athletic team in the preliminaries to the 1948 Olympics. A lot of people don't know that. After his 3-year military service in Korea, he briefly worked for IBM, but he would soon turn to acting. He made his acting debut when he was asked to replace another actor in a stage play. He followed that with lessons at the Actors Studio and made several successful stage appearances, including Silent Night, Lonely Night, 1959-1960 with Henry Fonda. Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, 62 to 64, but he was dreaming of a career in the movies and therefore moved with his partner Marjorie and their 2 children, daughters Corinne Berger, who was born in 1952, and later actress Deborah Berger, born in 57, to Hollywood. He wasn't able to find work and soon had marital problems. Berger returned to New York, where he took up acting again and fell in love with the actress Carol Lobervico, who introduced him to her jet-set friends and to the world of drugs. For quite some time, they lived a life living apart together, and in Carol's absence, he often had roommates. One of them was Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones. William and Carol finally married in 1969. When making a trip to Europe in 65, he was offered a small role in the Sinatra movie Von Ryan's Express. His scenes were shot at Cinecittà Studios in Rome, and Berger decided to stay in Rome and was offered a role alongside Marcello Mastroianni and Catherine Spock in Marco Ferrari's L'Uomo dei Cinque Palloni. The movie wasn't very successful, but Berger nevertheless drew the attention to his blonde hair and agile movements. By this time, everybody in the business was thinking about making a Western and looking for fair-haired actors who looked American and could ride a horse. He was offered a role in the spaghetti Western Ringo's Big Night, which is what Jay started to show. It marked the beginning of Berger's successful career as a spaghetti Western actor. Although he had only one more lead in a spaghetti Western, that was Sartana in the Valley of the Vultures, he was one of the most recognizable faces of the genre. And I know a bunch of you guys are jumping up and down saying, well, he was a star in this and that and that. No, he was a co-star. But those were the only 2 films that he actually had the leading billing as a star actor.
Because he was so damn good, he would steal the show.
And even when he had a 3rd or 4th part, like in the Garco Sartana movies, you always think of him as one of the stars.
I mean, if he's not the star of that film Banjo, no, The Grand Duel, he's the star of the movie, and Lee Van Cleef's the co-star.
Yep.
He's the heavy. I love Banjo. If he was alive, I would have told him. Love characters. He wasn't filthy or a bandit, like in a lot of these films. He was a nice-looking dude, tall, played the banjo. I'll be back in a minute. Hits the street. And one of the great scenes of all time was basically what he does best. An obvious steal from the Gadgets used by Lee Van Cleef and in other movies and stuff, but it has its own, and Django, of course. Instead of the song being They Called Him Django, it should be They Called Him Banjo.
Banjo, yeah. He had a soft spot for him because he always had that little snickering smile on his face, like everybody knew what he was doing and what kind of a guy he was, but you always enjoyed him.
Yeah, I certainly did. Let's take a look, Tom, at our first trailer from Ringo's Big Night. I hope we will all enjoy it. Sit back, and here it is. And of course, the great Eduardo Fajardo. Was in
exactly.
This. But you can tell by the trailer, he had the magnetism, very similar to like a more bulkier Peter Lee Lawrence. Like could be his older brother or his alter ego. I'm surprised they didn't make any. He's in any in his films, or do they appear in one together?
Who's that?
Peter Lee Lawrence and William Berger.
No. Yeah, that's a good
that would have
question.
been like Big Brother, Little Brother.
Yeah,
one's bad,
exactly.
one's good.
Yeah.
That would have been amazing. Not a
Yep.
bad film. It's actually an early
Yeah,
good one.
he plays sort of laid back in this one because, I mean, all of a sudden he went over there and they're offering him a lead in a movie. Well, I mean, I don't know how many movies he made, but he was never the lead. And all of a sudden that had to be quite a bit of pressure to put on him. And especially a genre that's really starting to go. And if he wanted to continue his career, he better be pretty good in his first film. And he was.
It was.
So,
It's a good one. Where is it
yep.
available, Tom?
Let me give you a little rundown on Ringo's Big Night, also called
right.
Night of the Desperado. It's and it was directed by Mario Maffei, with music by Carlo Rusticelli, which really doesn't help it much. I'm not a big fan of Rusticelli. Anyways, it was about a stagecoach bound for Tombstone, which is robbed by four masked men. Two suspects are arrested for the crime. Jack Ballman, played by William Berger, and a wounded bandit. The two men form a partnership, and Ballman is told three names of the bandits: Black Norton, Bailey, and Sam the sheriff. Ballman escapes and starts out after the stolen money. The fourth member of the gang turns out to be the most elusive, which I won't give away, but Berger's in it. Walter Mastosi plays Broken Arm. Francisco Moran plays Black Norton. Jorge Regal plays Jim Bailey, and Jose Bodalo plays Sheriff Sam Burdock. This one's only available on DVD. There's no Blu-ray release on this one. Can't hear you. Can't hear you at all.
There we go, Tom.
There we go. Okay, push the button.
Don't scare me. That was.
Did you hear me?
That was human error, folks.
Okay, I just want to make sure you can hear me too.
Right. So I can enjoy Tom. I have to keep quiet unless I mute myself. That's great, Tom. Thank you.
Yep.
We're using new audio, folks, so I hope I'm clear, and there shouldn't be any issues after that unless I accidentally press the mute button. That's awesome, Tom. Thank you for that.
Yep.
So, yes, Tom, we follow up the next one. How good is that with Cisco? Still not a leading role, but a big chunky part.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you can't call him the lead role in this, because the lead character is called Cisco, and who does he play? Cisco. So I mean,
I didn't mean What I'm saying is, but he's not really built up in the history of it. He's not known as the lead character.
Right. And this one is 1966, directed by Sergei Burgon, who's really Sergio Bergonzelli. And I always ask or tell people, if you're looking for spaghetti westerns and you don't know what to watch or whatever, anything with a Sergio, that's a director, writer, whatever, are usually pretty good.
Yeah.
So the music is by Bruno Nicolai, which is one of the best. And it's about Cisco has been falsely accused of robbing a bank in Dallas. With the help of Dr. Martin, he pretends to be dead, but when the dishonest deputy sheriff and a gang led by outlaw Capobanda attacks and massacres a ranch he was working on, he decides to join the gang. He then attempts to rob the bank in Calabasas, but Cisco robs it first. I'm talking about Capobano robbing the bank, but Cisco robs it first in order to save the money from the gang. He ends up defeating the gang with explosive cigars and his kisses on the foreheads, which actually means a shot between the eyes. So Larry, or Cisco, is William Berger. Capobano, Toro, or El Tuscarora, is George Wang, played by George Wang. Maria Pilar is Antonella Murgia. Deputy Sheriff Boston is Lamberto Antonori. And Burt Challenge is played by Tom Pileggi. Another one is on DVD only, no Blu-ray release.
That's great, Tom. Almost did it again. Anyway, Tom always gives me the best synopsises, because that's what Tom is known for, with the Great Westerns all'Italiana magazine, which I looked through extensively this week. The William Berger. You don't even remember that issue, do you, Tom?
No, not until I saw it on Facebook. I went and dug it out. Yeah, right. Issue number 18.
Okay, now I have it. Yeah. Cool. So let's take. I think we have the trailer for Cisco, and it's not a trailer. It's a montage. So let's enjoy.
Who does he look like in that poster?
Morgan Freeman.
No, Lloyd Bridges. Lloyd Bridges.
I thought you meant the guy. Okay.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, great film for a second film. It's a minor spaghetti western, still very good. It's produced very well done.
Yeah.
It's not a hack job.
Right.
Sergio again, Tom, who is that?
Yeah, Sergio Bergenzelli.
Right. So anyway, then the next film right off the bat, not a huge role, but still a good one and almost an all-star cast. So we're talking, of course, Facci. Hope I said that correctly. Face to face.
Yep, face to face. It's funny because as time went on, most of the posters in the beginning were just of Milian and Volante, and then as time went on and Berger got bigger, the DVDs and the Blu-rays and stuff came out with Berger face plastered on them. So shows what his fan base was. But this was a '67 Italian-Spanish co-production, directed by Sergio Solima, music by the master Ennio Morricone, and it's about a character study. Basically, is what I say. As much a western, by the theme is the study of violence and how it impacts and changes its characters. It chronicles the exploits of a mild-mannered history professor, Brad Fletcher, who journeys to the American West for his health. There he becomes infatuated by the legendary and ruthless outlaw Solomon Beauregard Bennett and becomes entangled in the rough and violent life of the bandit, eventually ascending to the role of leader of the gang. The pair are finally tracked down by Pinkerton detective Charlie Ringo, which is Berger, to a final showdown between good and evil. And again, Professor Brad Fletcher is John Maria Volante, Solomon Beauregard Bennett is Tomas Milian, and Charlie Ringo is William Berger. And this is available both on DVD and Blu-ray.
Oh yeah, I mean it's one of I think my favorite of the revolutionary ones.
It's got a nice twist because they basically reverse roles as the film goes along.
Yeah, no, it's nice to get a different version of that, whether it's Bullet for a General or Tepepa or one of those other ones, which I love. I love all of them. There's always in my top 20. There's always a revolutionary movie, Docusucker.
Mercenary.
Right, the mercenary. He dealt body parts like Anyway, so let's take a look at the trailer, Tom, for Face to Face. It's a good one.
Great production values in that.
Yeah, Face to Face, and move back a little bit here. So yeah, it's a good one. Did we talk about it or?
Yep.
Okay. So after that, actually, another good film known as Sartana, but I know what Tom is. If you meet Sartana, pray for your death.
There you go.
Which I prefer better. I like the longer ones, the ones that three paragraphs, 4 sentences. If you came here, you'd be home by now. Meets Sabata's younger brother who knew Django, and then he left town and met Ringo at the saloon, and they all went into the Valley of Death and 20 paces backwards. Now that's a title, Tom. And
then when they went on video, they shortened them all. They made 2 Bags of Gold is one of its alternate titles.
Wow.
Gunfighters Die Harder. But anyways, It was a '67 Italian Monaco co-production directed by Frank Kramer, who is Gianfranco Parolini. He's another one, is a master of action films. And that's why everybody likes the Sartana Garco films. He was a very good director.
Mm-hmm.
Funny, cinematographer was Sandro Mancore, and they always say Eastman color, Technicolor, Technoscope, whatever. This one is Periscope because of the Monaco addition to it. So, music by Piero Piccioni. It's about a small group of town officials, among them the bank director, who organized an insurance swindle by hiring a Mexican gang to steal a strongbox, and an American Lasky, which is Berger, and his gang to kill the Mexicans. A mysterious stranger, Sartana, sets himself up in the middle of the conflict, revolving around rival gangs, the town's bigwigs, and the search for the missing loot. Double crosses and changing alliances ensue. Berger plays a befuddled, mysterious gunman We don't know when he kills his own men whether it was on the orders of the town officials or is this his own idea to cut down on the split of the money. But it's got a great cast. Sartana's Gark is played by Johnny Garco. Lasky is William Berger. Morgan, Klaus Kinski, your buddy. General Jose Manuel Francisco Mendoza Montezuma de la Plata Correza Tampico is played, or I'm sorry, Rodriguez at the end of that, played by our friend Fernando Sancho. Jeff Stelwell is Sidney Chaplin. Al Holman is Johnny Rizzo, the fat guy. Dusty is in all of these. That's Franco Pesci. And Evelyn Holman is played by Heidi Fisher. And this one's on both DVD and Blu-ray.
Right. What film is Franco Pesci not in, Tom?
Well, he's in all the Garco movies. He always plays The Undertaker or one of those type of doctor, something like that.
Do that line, Tom. Do that line, Tom. These are your. I'm your pallbearer.
I'm your pallbearer. I am your pallbearer.
I love when you do it, Tom. Yeah. You sound just like Garco when you do it. Anyway,
I sure do. Sure I do.
Let's take a look from, I think William, Mr. Berger is prominently in this. I hope so.
Poor Berger.
It's probably one of his best scenes in the film, if not the best.
Yeah.
Right. And his smile. It's always he's not just there to collect a paycheck. He was a professional actor from actually went the route of LA first before going to Europe, as opposed to the other way around.
Right.
Great scene. So, then he moved on to another all-star cast. I mean, think about it. I mean, as tragic as his career in the end afterwards, with all his personal issues, but his decision-making on what classic spaghetti westerns, well, he didn't have the foresight, but he had a good head on his shoulders. He figured, well, this one's got Brett Halsey and Bud Spencer, and let me join this cast. And then that's where he made Today We Kill, Tomorrow We Die, Tom.
Right. Also known as Today Is Mine, Today It's Me, Today It's Me, Tomorrow You.
You say blah, tomato, blah, 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 I say tomato.
Yeah. Directed by Tonino Cervi, story by Dario Argento, and also the screenplay. So that shows you right there it's a decent story. Music by Angelo Francesco Lavagnino. Bill Kiowa has spent 5 years in prison because outlaw El Fago killed his Indian wife, had beaten and left money bags in his house to pin an earlier robbery on him. Bill, with plenty of time on his hands, plans his revenge, and when released, recruits 4 of the best gunmen around: O'Banion, Jeff Milton, Barney Fox, and Colt Moran, who's William Berger. When El Fago and his gang rob a Wells Fargo coach, Bill and his men are hot on their trail in the hope of carrying out his plans for revenge. So Bill Kiowa is Brett Halsey. Also, he was known as Montgomery Ford in this film. Walrus O'Banion is Bud Spencer. Francis Colt Moran, William Berger. Jeff Milton, played by Wade Preston. James El Fago is Tatsuya Nakadai. Moreno is Jeff Cameron, and Barney Fox is Stanley Gordon. This is on DVD and Blu-ray. And Brett Halsey tells the story that in one of the writing scenes, Berger had been on drugs and just fell forward and fell right off his horse. So he was, very nonchalant.
We'll shoot that again.
Yeah. Well, he told us during when he was on his podcast that Nakade would fall off his horse and trip and fall and whatever because he was not a horseman. He had never been on a horse, but at least he gave it a try again and again, where Berger was on drugs and just fell off his horse.
Right. So let's take a look. We've seen this before, some of these, since we've done other shows on other people. Since we've shown, that means lots of trailers are going to pop up, so bear with me. I do try to find different ones when they pop up. So we might have taken a look at this once before, but just for the sake of staying in context, let's take a look at trailer for. Tom, I keep saying that's Charo. That's Elvis Presley. I think Brett hates when I do that, but no. Time would probably bring you a little bit more work, in my opinion, because I think '67 he was pretty making those. Made a couple of westerns and
yeah, he'd have been very good.
It's on the chart.
Yep.
So I think, no, let's not kid a kidder. These films were made, especially in Italy, to take advantage of a hot fad or a character like Django or whoever. So it's no coincidence Montgomery, aka Brett, looks a little bit like Elvis at his peak.
Mm-hmm.
You know, oh, Charo.
As long as he doesn't sing, he's fine.
Right. He did cut a song, didn't he, or something? Or
Brett? I don't know.
he did the Fly song?
I don't.
Anyway,
Help me.
Yeah, the Help Me song.
Help me, son.
But anyway, it looks like William had a penchant for picking good roles one after the other. This one isn't that bad, but it's not as big as previous ones. And of course, we're talking about Tom, the Man Who Cried for Revenge.
Yep. Also a name that cried revenge, or just cry for revenge. 1968 Italian production, directed by William Hawkins, who's Mario Cano. Cinematography by Enzo Barboni, who did the Trinity films, the director. Music by Robbie Poitvin. This story is about Davy Flanagan, who's lost his memory. How many times that happened in these spaghetti westerns? He lost his memory of what happened during the Civil War because he was double-crossed and shot in the head. Well, that's a good reason. When he returns to his hometown of Dixon, he's wanted for war crimes. Judge Kellogg, who's William Berger, poses as his friend and tries to help him uncover the conspiracy, but Kellogg is a liar and tells Davy Hackett took his wife and is behind the whole thing. And Davy sets out for Bandit Hackett's hideout, covers his path with bodies before finding out the truth. Davy Flanagan, or Drake, is Anthony Steffen. Sam Kellogg is played by William Berger. Lisa Flanagan is Evelyn Stewart. Clay Hackett, or Hooker, is Robert Hundar. Dirty is played by Mario Brega. Crazy Joe by Fortunato Arena. And Buddy Claudio Ruffini. This one's only on DVD.
Right. It's not bad. It's one of, I think, 2 or 3 pair-ups with Anthony Steffen.
You got Anthony Steffen, you got Robert Hundar in there, so, and Evelyn Stewart's always good to see. So got a decent cast. Yep.
No, what I'm saying is he's made a couple films with Anthony Steffen.
Oh yeah.
Including the one, I think, back to back.
I asked Daniel Camargo about their relationship because he interviewed Anthony Steffen, and apparently Anthony Steffen also came from a rich background. Remember, Berger's parents were both doctors, and Anthony Steffen's father was an ambassador, and so they were like uppity-ups, and they didn't get along together. They worked well together on set, but on free time, they didn't care for each other. So that's something I just learned this week.
When 2 alpha males meet, Tom, but
probably yes.
I don't think Anthony Steffen said more than a couple words at a time.
Yep.
So, but as I said, right off the bat from The Man Who Cried Revenge, I mean, your agent says, don't go anywhere, Billy. You're making another one of these Western pictures. No room to die. Be there at 5 o'clock. I'll be there with a glass of wine and a woman under each arm. I can just imagine that's why I think I told you off camera, Tom, a movie, The Life and Times of Billy Berger of Banjo would be a great 2-hour HBO biopic.
He's sort of like Klaus Kinski, but a little bit
saner.
Saner, yeah. He's got some class to him where Klaus was just, a savage. Yeah.
He'd go off on you even at your own party.
Yep.
But
No Room to Die was also some more titles for you, Jay. A Noose for Django and A Hanging for Django are alternate titles.
I love all 3.
Yep. 69 Italian production directed by Willie S. Reagan, who's again Sergio Gironi. Music by Vasco and Mancuso. This one's about 2 bounty hunters team up to face a crime ring, smuggling Mexicans across the border to treat them as slaves. Berger is a standout as the black-clad Bible-reading bounty hunter with a 6-barreled shotgun. This is that one he's got that pepper box. Yep. Johnny Brandon, or Django, is played by Anthony Steffen. Everett Bible Murdoch, or he's called Sartana in some, is Berger. And then we have Maya, played by Nicoletta Machiavelli. Fargo Ricardo Gironi, who's director Sergio's brother. Captain Stone is Claudio Ruffini. Captain Stouffer is Franco Akmar. and Brandon's partner, who there's never a name, at least in any of the English versions I've seen. He never gives him a name, but he's Stefan's partner. And Stefan's partner. This one's available on DVD and Blu-ray.
All right, well, let's take a look at a clip, and I think we'll all enjoy it, and then we'll move on to what we think, at least in my opinion, is his starring role, even though he's not the star.
His peak.
I've heard about you, Brandon. You're a bounty hunter, a murderer.
You have the gold, you've got it all. What more do you want?
I'm not doing this just for the money, Fargo.
That gun looks like a meat grinder.
And that's one of my favorite after the Django gun and, of course, the Banjo gun.
Oh, yeah, the Banjo gun, yeah.
So not a bad film at all. Looked like a good print, Tom.
Yeah, it did.
So let's talk about then, I guess, at least the piece de resistance to me, even though he probably had a couple roles where he had more dialogue. But I think this is one of those films that you remember. I mean, there's no other character named Banjo. There could have been in the 650 to 800 euro spaghetti westerns. There could have been another character. Hey, I'm Banjo. It's like, no, there's only one Banjo. And great casting. I always make a joke. He looked a little bit like a young Bo Svensson.
Yeah.
In this as well. And it's like, you're crazy. No, I think they might have even worked together. But anyway, someone could fact check that. So great film, near the tail end of Lee Van Cleef's spaghetti western career.
Well, this is when he started making them sort of tongue in cheek. He was at the peak of his career, and he always had a smile on his face, like he never took these films too seriously. You know, he knew he was like the James Bond hero now, and he was going to come out on top. So,
well, let me just say real quick. I think I made a mistake earlier. I think I made a referral, and it's okay if no one caught it. Sometimes I confuse this Sartana with the Grand Duel.
Oh, Grand Duel?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
One has Horst. I sometimes interswitch.
Grand Duel has Horst Frank, right? Yep.
Right. So if I made that mistake earlier, I meant Sartana. Continue, Tom.
Okay. Well, this has the alternate title of Sabata.
I meant Sabata.
It has no other name.
Time out, Tom. Time out. I'm on my fourth cup of coffee. I'm using an iPad for the first time as opposed to my Mac. And so I'm mixing up Sabata, Sartana, everything you can think of today. So you got to cut me some slack. What I meant was Sabata, near the end of LVF's career, he started to do parodies or takeoffs, like you said. And I think one of the saving graces of this is, of course, William Berger. But tell us about it, Tom.
Yeah, it was directed by Frank Kramer again, Gianfranco Parolini. Marcello Giambini did the music, and we all know the title song, Bum, 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 Bum. So, as far as I'll go. Sabata foils the attempts of the town leaders of Doherty, Texas, to rob their own bank of $100,000 in order to buy land and sell it to the approaching railroad. An old acquaintance of Sabata shows up by the name of Banjo, who is Berger, a sort of wisecracking hippie type who plays a banjo which hides a rifle. He turns out to be a great foil for Sabata. Sort of like that Sartana movie we saw. He plays the same type of character against Sabata. He always ends up second, no matter what he thinks he's winning, and all the time he's not winning. Sabata knows what's going on, but Sabata is played by Lee Van Cleef, Banjo by William Berger. Hardy Stengel is played by Franco Rossell. Another one, we got to do a show on Franco Rossell, that weirdo. Jane is played by Linda Veras. Corinthia, played by Pedro Sanchez. Judge O'Hara by Johnny Rizzo, again, the fat guy. Ferguson, Anthony Treadwell. Indio, Jumping Kid or Alley Cat, played by Nick Jordan. And Oswald, played by Robert Hundar. And Oswald only has a small part in it, Robert Hundar. But this is available on DVD and Blu-ray.
Well, let's get to the trailer and then an extra special.
Now, one thing before you get to the trailer, remember there was, and I will have one of the experts over here will have to tell us, there was a film with Roy Orbison called The Fastest Guitar in the West that had a rifle in the banjo. Which came first?
The chicken or Roy Orbison?
The banjo or the rifle, yeah.
You know what? But one is just a small little cult film, if that.
Oh, yeah.
And it was, you could get it on little small video independent companies around the country, but not compared to, I think.
Oh, I'm sure it was one of those things where after some people saw Sabata and then they saw Fastest Guitar in the West on TV late night or something. That's when they put the two and two together.
Who's more intimidating with a banjo?
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's take a look at a little bit of Sabata and then an extra surprise after that.
A rifle that never misses. A pistol that shoots 2 ways. And a look that means you're dead before you draw. The man and the gun are one, called Sabata.
Tom, the man and the gun are one.
Lots of stunt work in that one.
Right. It looked like a Laura Moore, a Quentin Martin. It reeked a little bit of 70s television fluff, but still a classic of its kind.
Oh, yeah.
Like a great made-for-TV movie, if that was on ABC and stuff like that. We have a little special treat, Tom. We're not just going to show one clip of that. I think it's fair to show the scene-stealing clip that's in Sabata with Banjo. So, Banjo, you're wanted in the middle of the town.
What Sabata's up to here in Dougherty, but what about you, huh?
I'm waiting.
Waiting for what? For somebody to give you a pile of money for playing that banjo? That won't happen in this town. You'd have to kill them first.
It wouldn't be the first time.
What do you mean by that?
Banjo, there's 5 men waiting down there. I think they want to play a little music with you.
Hey up there, Banjo!
I have to go, Jane.
around the country, but then I heard you were in Texas.
There's no one around who can put one over on us Claytons.
We're finishing up the job, Banjo.
It's sad to have to die so far away from home.
Banjo!
Right through the heart. He remembers.
You knew him?
Once. We played together.
Banjo!
Couple of things here real quick. That first few notes that he plays on the banjo, that's from 310 to Yuma. So check that out sometime and you'll see that they're the same notes. The other thing is Linda Veras, who plays Jane, was Sergio Solima's girlfriend. That's why she pops up in all the Solima films. If anybody knows where she is today, please let us know. I get that question asked to me all the time. And,
Banjo.
Banjo.
Right. Great scene. Basically, you don't need to see the rest of the movie. Sorry, buzzkill, spoiler. There's gadgets awry, and it's a fun film, but that is one of my favorite scenes. It's up there with the Django automatic machine gun. In my opinion, I put things on levels, Tom, and to me, that's right up there.
Yeah, the other question I've got, is that his real voice, Berger's?
I think it is.
If not, it sure looks like it should be.
Well, I remember it from a couple, some giallo and some horror films. That pretty much sounds like that.
Because he did do some voice dubbing while he lived in Rome too. So voices. I mean, yeah, why wouldn't they use his voice?
So next, this is where I had my confusion. He did a Sartana movie, Sartana in the Valley of Vultures. It's known as other things, but that's my favorite title for it, Tom. Yep,
Sartana in the Valley of Death, Ballad of Death Valley. We know it directed by Robert Maury, who is Giuseppe Tagliava. Again, music by Peter Martell. It's not Peter Martell, it's Augusto Martelli. And it's a story of a gunfighter, Lee Calloway, who's also known as Sartana, who's Billy Berger, agrees to help three outlaws break out of jail in exchange for half of their stolen gold. Calloway carries out his end of the bargain, but the outlaws betray him and leave him in the desert to die. After wandering for days, Calloway is rescued by Esther, who nurses him back to health, only to trick him as well in order to collect the reward on his head. So he ends up a loser all the way on this. But Lee Calloway, or Sartana, is played by William Berger, Anthony Douglas, and Wade Preston. Juanita is Holanda Morio. Paco, or the preacher, is Alan Collins. Pete Craig, or George Douglas, is Alto Berti. Slim Craig, or Slim Douglas, Carlo Giordana. Peter Craig and Peter Douglas, Franco de Rosa. Norton is Franco Rossell again. And Esther is Pamela Tudor. This one's only available on DVD.
Oh, okay. Well, it's it's okay. It's not bad if you collect Sartana movies like I do. I like when he's figured prominently on a poster.
Yeah.
So I tend to look for my posters, who's on it, the artwork, where is it from. So anyway, it's a good poster at least. Next, he made, I guess, another of these films that came along where they say his name is this, they call me that, I go by this, don't call me that, but they call him Cemetery. There's a few other titles in spaghetti westerns with the word cemetery and crosses, and very confusing. Well, confusing in research.
Yep.
We did a show on that.
Same like Holy Ghost and Holy Spirit, that type of thing. There's a bunch of
Right.
that.
What was this one also called, Tom?
Was also called His Pistols Smoked. They called him Cemetery, or they called him Graveyard, The Stranger at Vespers, and Bullet for a Stranger. Directed by Anthony Ascott, who's Giuliano Carmineo. Story by E.B. Clutcher, which is Enzo Barboni. That's a Trinity director. Music again by Bruno Nicolai. And this is about the two McIntyre brothers return to their home in the West. They soon find that a band of mysterious masked men are controlling the territory and extorting the ranchers. The brothers are helped by a gunman called Cemetery, also known as the Ace of Hearts, to combat the bandits, while the bandits hire Cemetery's old friend, Duke, played by William Berger, to eliminate all three. So Camposanto, Cemetery, the Ace of Hearts, is played by Johnny Garco. Duke is played by William Berger. George McIntyre by John Fordyce. John McIntyre by Chris Chattel. Cobra Ramirez, played by Nello Pazzafini. And Pedro Sancho, played by Hugo Fanjareggi. This is only on DVD.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, they call him Cemetery. They call him Graveyard. Another film with Klaus Kinski with the graveyard in it, Tom, where they call him Kinski Graveyard or something. I don't know. Don't want to be confused with that. So yeah, it's an okay film, and I think it made the cut, so we can show a quick clip from it. It's not bad. So enough talking, and let's watch.
Devo fare il mio lavoro, straniero. Succeda quel che succede.
Lo so, Duca, ma qualsiasi cosa succeda, te la farò sudare.
Va bene quando si ferma?
A Darlingen, avete detto? C'è stata qualche epidemia?
E c'è ancora. E speriamo che duri.
Santo cielo, e di che si tratta?
Del morbo di Colt.
Ho l'impressione che a questo tavolo ci sia qualcuno che vuol fare il dritto. Io non faccio nomi, ma se me ne accorgo giuro che gli sparo nell'occhio buono. Cosa vuoi dire? In nome
an abrupt end.
Great main theme.
Right.
Yeah, I love that. One of my favorites. Yep. And that coach is like they're trying to outdo Sergio and Duck You Sucker. I mean, let's get a railroad car in here.
There's some great posters of the two of them together from different countries on this particular film. So the next one we got up, Tom, is it's known as A Few Things. I know it as The Executioner of God.
Right.
Or it could be Judgment of God, or God's Gunman.
God's Gunman, yep.
Or God Had a Butler. But as I said, we always make fun of the titles, Tom. Each one has at least 4.
Yeah, it seems that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, so tell us about this one, Tom.
This is directed by Franco Lattanzi. It's an Italian production, 1972. Music by Piero Piccioni. It's about a former gunman named Tony Lant who becomes a priest, as known as Father Lanthony, played by Berger. After the accidental death of his son, he becomes a priest. He seeks vengeance on 3 bandits who are masquerading as law-abiding citizens. This one is decent. The story is unique, and you have to sort of follow it along to get the clincher at the end. But Berger, at this point, if you noticed him, is getting a little ragged looking. He hasn't got the Banjo Beatles type haircut. He's got the longer, shaggy, I haven't had a haircut in 6 months, shaved in 3 weeks type of look. But Padre Tony Lang, played by Berger. Frank Ace of Hearts, played by Donald O'Brien. Ramon Orea, played by George Wang. Ramon Henchman is Maurizio Manoia. Carol Lang is played by Nuccia Cardinale. And Goliath is played by Victor Stock. So it's not a bad film. Like I said, it's worth a look, and the ending ties it all together, but you have to watch the whole movie to get to it.
Actually, there's a great new color print of that.
Oh yeah,
it's out. So the Three Bandits, everybody in it, the colors.
oh cool. I've only seen a faded older version.
No, it's
Yeah,
a good one out. I forget what title that one's under.
and I think the
Executioner
one I
Judgment.
watched too is really cut because I didn't understand what the hell was going on until I got to the very end. So they probably cut portions out.
Probably. Tom, I was disappointed. We're taking a quick pause. Tom knows how much I love Little Rita. And he said to me, well, I found the cut that doesn't have the music. What's that one called, Tom?
The Wild Westerners.
Or the Crazy Westerners.
Crazy Westerners, yeah.
I got all excited. Tom sent me the link. I watched it, and there's 2 hours of Rita belting away. Starting here, starting now. Everything's coming up, Rita. So
well, maybe it is the Wild Westerners then that's cut, and the Crazy Westerners has all the vocals.
Thing.
Yeah,
it's the same thing as Little Rita. I was very disappointed. The monkeys are in it. They did the version of the Porpoise song.
Yeah,
and I'm not a fan.
No.
But anyway, I was so excited. I'm going to see finally just the Django scenes and the other scenes. No singing. Anyway, such a disappointment, Tom. So I took a couple sleeping pills and right to bed. So let's ride along to, well, not exactly a nadir of a career, but I think once you do, even Lee Van Cleef, or doesn't matter who it is, Tony Anthony, eventually you're going to make one of the crossover, kung fu spaghetti western movies. Red Sun, in my opinion, is the best because it's not very chop socky. It's not a joke; it's serious. And so, and Alain Delon, great bad guy, and of course, is it Mifune?
Yeah.
Yeah, as the warrior.
Sure, Mifune. Plays the samurai.
Hey, give me your sword.
Yep. But there's a couple of cute scenes in there where he, kills the gnat with the fly with the sword. Yeah.
I think that's the inspiration for the samurai hotel clerk for Belushi.
Should be, yeah.
Right. So anyway, all these little in-house references, Tom. My point is, Kung Fu Brothers in the Wild West doesn't strike fear. It's not as bad as one of the Stranger sequels, or is it, Tom?
Yeah, it's bad. It's
bad. Okay, go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's also known as Man from Golden City, Master Killers, directed by George Bang, whose real name is Man Yi Yang. Music is by Franco Braccardi. That doesn't turn anybody on either on who he is, but after a kung fu fighter runs away from a fight, his opponent goes in search of him. This leads to their meeting in the Old West, where the two team up against a gang of cowboy thugs. The two kung fu fighters turn out to be brothers. They both become involved in other unpleasant situations and meet new friends and the love of a woman. When their teacher arrives from China, the two must either fight each other or go against the samurai. This has got a bunch of second-tier spaghetti western actors, but William Berger plays Steve, also known as Blonde or Angel. Donald O'Brien plays Don, and then the rest of these are basically Chinese actors and actresses. So bear with me while I try and pronounce names. Chen is played by Jason Palpio. King Dragon is Kao Kang Thompson. Tracy or Torneo, Tang Chin Ho. Ellen or Elaine Bellman is played by Rosemary Lint. And Ling Chow is Winnie Pei Nei. But it's at that peak of 1973 where the spaghettis were going out and the kung fu movies were coming in. They started to combine the two to extend the spaghetti western genre lifeline, and that's how these things became made. But that's really, really pretty bad. Really, you can tell by the set that it was made in like Cave Studios or one of the really rundown sets, and the acting is pretty bad. A lot of comedy thrown in there, and it's just you might want to watch it once for the completist, but don't bother spending a lot of time looking for it.
It's like any other of those films, except I said for Red Sun, Tom.
Yeah, Stranger to Gunfighter is not too bad, but yeah, Red Sun is the peak, is the best.
You know me, I don't like the mixing of the genres for some reason. That's why White Fang and some of those others don't really rank high on my list. But But I said, Tom, you're more the purist. What is those films you'd include? Zorro?
Zorro, Mexican Revolutionary films,
Why do that?
White Fang films, yep.
Winnetou.
Winnetou, of course.
Last Tomahawks. Is Last Tomahawk spaghetti
Last
western,
Tomahawk.
Tom?
It's in there.
I have a signed Anthony Stephan, Last Tomahawk, Tom.
There you go.
And that, you know what makes it
His
rare?
first Western. It's his first Western.
Right, so it's back from when he made the film. I got it from someone who worked on the movie many years ago, and I didn't want to get it because I'm not a fan of those films, but it's been the only one that I've seen in estate sales or advertised. And what makes it super rare is he went 2 minutes in the early his career. He added an S to his name, Tom.
Anthony Stephens.
Yeah, so he
Plural?
signed it with an S. So
Oh wow!
I only have the rare stuff, Tom. I got
maybe
Billy Berger.
Maybe he had a lisp in those days.
Right. Or a wooden leg, Tom.
Or wooden leg. Yeah.
Billy Berger and Anthony
got more
Stephens.
than me. I haven't got an Anthony Stephens or a William Berger.
Well, but you got other great ones, Tom.
Sorry.
So let's move on to a great title in the pantheon. On the third day arrived the crow, Tom.
Yeah, this one's another one that's almost a joke. A Fistful of Death, it's known as. On the third day arrived the crow. 1972 Italian production, directed by Johnny Crea. Music by Nora Orlandi. She's fantastic, but she didn't do much on this one. The Connolly brothers, who are out to avenge their father's death at the hands of the crow. Crow's played by William Berger, and his men. In their search, they stumble upon a gold shipment that bandits are after. The crow, he's known as the meanest SOB of this side of the Rio Grande. After 3 days, he finally shows up in town and is promptly killed by the Connolly brothers. So after about an hour of suspense waiting for the crow to show up, he finally shows up and they gun him down like bing, bang, boom. So he must have been like Kinski, Jay. He must have gotten a fistful of dollars and said, yeah, I'll work for a day.
Oh man, that's a funny part of that.
Oh yeah, but it's got Lincoln played by Lincoln Tate, Sally played by Fiorella Manoia. She's a great stunt actress who had roles as an actress. Tornado Kennedy is played Lorenzo Finesci. The Crow, of course, William Berger. Lawson, Richard Melville, and the Crow's brother, our buddy Dean Stratford or Dean Strano. Yep.
All right.
It's one of those that builds it all up and then blows it away real quick, and you go, "Oh, what a waste of an hour and a half."
There's quite a few actually that fall into that category.
Yep.
I don't. The next film is one that I think Robert Woods, when he was our guest, he talked about this. One of the great titles of all time, not to be confused with similar films that have almost the same.
Oh, that Peter Lee Lawrence film had the same title, basically.
Right, When the Devil Grips the Colt, or When the
Devil
Colt Grips the Devil.
Holds a gun, When the Devil Grips the Colt, yep.
Right.
Directed by Frank G. Carroll, Gianfranco Baldanello, 1972 Italian production. Music by Piero Piccioni. As a favor for the late Jeremy Scott, who had saved his life while in prison, Roy Coster comes to Silvertown, where he clears the name of the wrongly accused man. Coster finds the town, but finds himself unwelcome when he looks into Jeremy Scott's arrest and conviction. He finds himself up against Warner and ally outlaw Butch Brown, who's William Berger, known as Isaac McCorney, the local saloon owner. Roy Coster is Robert Woods. Jeremy Scott is Attilo Dotesio. Butch Brown or Isaac McCorney. William Berger, he uses an alias to cover his true identity. Warner played by George Wang, and Lisa by Mala Stanek. This one's on DVD only.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's not bad. It's a good Robert Woods film. Billy isn't in it much, at least the way that I'd like to see him. But anyway, that's fine. So the next film actually is a step up into a film that's actually kind of has a little bit of a cult following, Tom. Great title, of course. Fast Hand is Still My Name.
Yep, or just known as Fast Hand. It's a 73 Spanish-Italian film co-production, produced by John Weiler, Sergio Ciani, directed by Frank Bronston, Mario Bianchi, Music by Johnny Ferrio's got the song That Man, sung by Ann Collin, who popped up in the Django Tarantino movie, that same song. With the Civil War just ended, here we go again. Captain Jeff Madison is captured by an outlaw, Machado, head of an ex-Confederate gang. To avenge some of his friends that the captain had ordered hung, Machado shoots the captain's hand and leaves him tied to a tree. When Madison is saved by an Indian woman, Swan, he recovers and then stalks Machado and his outlaw gang, eventually setting a trap by stealing a load of gold and hiding it and himself in a ghost town to carry out his vengeance. Captain Jeff Madison, or Mulligan, is played by Alan Steele, who's Sergio Oceani. Machado Mercado, played by William Berger. Quincy, or Quintano, by Frank Brana. Diego by Fernando Bilbao. Raul by Gil Roland. Swan is Celine Bessie, and this one's only on DVD. But yeah, this one's more, quite a bit of violence, and Berger is a step up. He's basically the star of this film.
Okay, let's take a look at Fast Hand Is Still My Name.
It's gold. Like this one.
Nice coin, mister. Looks like it could be gold.
It is.
All right, where'd you get it?
Playing cards? Oh, yeah, it was in a casket I found. Amigo.
You get dollars in the bank. Not in a casket, mind you.
What do you think I've got in here?
I can't imagine, sir.
Dynamite, see?
Excuse me.
I got 60,000 bucks in cold cash.
I get the most, right? I found it. Shoot you, lovely gold. Give me that.
Hello, Diego. Have any prayers you haven't said? You won't be happy soon, I can tell you. You see, I'm gonna shoot you now.
Just one friend could be beautiful in the
I'm gonna shoot you now.
Great dialogue, Jim. You're not going to be happy long. I'm going to shoot you now.
Right. No, if you want to laugh, in a way, it's unintentional, of course.
Well, we don't know what the Italian dialogue was. That's the English dialogue. It could have been a lot tougher.
Right. Well, anyway,
that's why a lot of people like to watch the Italian versions with English subtitles.
Right. Well, that's not, as I said, film is good. If you don't, the action is good. It's a well-made film. Sometimes the dialogue gets a little crazy. So let's move on, Tom, to a film that I only include because it's our good friend Billy.
I forced you to. I put a gun to your head, made you put a Zorro film in here.
Right. So it's not bad. It's okay, Tom. My Son Zorro, or Zorro My Son, or Here Comes My Son.
The Son of Zorro, The Man with a Golden Winchester also. It's a 73 Italian-Spanish co-production by director Frank G. Caro, which is, again, Gianfranco Baldanello. So you know there's going to be plenty of action in this. Music is by Carmelo Giganti. Have no idea. The Son of Zorro aids an American gun runner, John Warren, who's Berger, in his effort to supply arms to Mexican revolutionaries in their effort to overthrow Emperor Maximilian. So it's a Zorro Mexican Revolution film. I got two of them on you on this one. Don Ricardo Villaverde's, or Zorro Jr., is Robert Widmark, who's
Richard Widmark, Tom?
No, it's Alberto Del Acqua. John Warren, or Matthias Boyd, is William Berger. Colonel Michael LeBlanc is Fernando Sancho. We've covered this one before. Donna Conchita Herrera is Elisa Ramirez, and Pedro Garcia is played by George Wang. Now, this is about at least the third film that we've seen Berger and George Wang together.
All right.
This is not on any DVD or Blu-ray. It's only on VHS.
Oh, that's amazing, Tom.
Yeah. This time
in front of you, I'm a
completist, in this era, it should have been released by somebody. Maybe I can talk Ulrich Bruckner into releasing it.
With a double bill with Kyoma. Yeah. That would be great. So at this point in his career, I think he was also, William was getting into making some horror. I think he made a couple of Franco films. So, these were his spaghetti westerns. So everything that he's in is colorful. He adds a little class, a little style. to the film.
Yeah, he's got name recognition, so he pops in these things and doesn't have big roles, but he probably gets paid pretty decent.
Right. And then so following Son of Zoro, when someone said, if you think what you were just in now, William, was bad, wait till we put you in the next film. He goes, how can it be bad, Jay? You're my agent. Well, here's the script for Yankee Dudler, and let me know what you think. So I only included it, Tom, because you begged me on your hands and knees.
I don't think they even gave him a copy of the script. If they gave him a copy of the script, it was for another film.
Right.
Oh, yeah, this was. Well, I think the catch-all was say, hey, you're going to be in a film. You're going to play Doc Holliday. How does that sound? Oh, okay, I'll take that role. But it's directed by Volker Vogler. It's a '73 West German-Spanish co-production. And it starts off with 5 Bavarian ne'er-do-wells are expelled from their native country and immigrate to America. But with their luck, it's mostly bad. They find life is difficult and fortune hard to come by in the West. Finally, they fall into the hands of Doc Holliday and his girlfriend, Kate Elder, where they are exploited and used as henchmen to rob a bank. All 4 of them get killed. Or 4 of the 5 get killed, excuse me. But Doc Holliday is William Berger. Kate Elder is Geraldine Chaplin. Henry Sutton is Eduardo Fajardo. Sebastian Leonard-Wine is Arthur Bross. Andreas Hofleitner is Francisco Algoro. Matthias Hofleitner, Joaquin Rodriguez. Petrus Kabzuska, Fred Stilcroft, who we just mentioned last week, passed away, like within the last 2 weeks. Joseph Albedo Mayer, Sigi Grau, and August Keller, Roberto Font. It's only on video. VHS, no DVD or Blu-ray release, but it's pretty bad.
No, it's right up
almost
there with
amateur. Would you say?
Yeah, it's that's name a film that basically put one of the nails in the coffin of spaghetti westerns. Yankee Dudler for 200, Alex.
Yeah.
So
and a waste of a good cast. I mean, Geraldine Chaplin and Eduardo Fajardo's in there. I mean, it's like, come on. You had the cast.
It happens sometimes. I'm looking at Eachin.
Yeah.
Isn't Olivier in that one? And Henry Fonda. Anyway, at least he went out with a bang. What William Berger did, and his last 2 spaghetti westerns. One of them, not a particular classic on favorite of mine, but I know it's one of Tom's favorites. Up there with the Forgotten Pistolero. Not that I'm not a fan of Enzo or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just I'm so used to seeing Django with the scruff. I don't like, what's the one with Thomas Milian with his hair is up? Sisasiero, Sasaki. He plays that crazy.
The white, the black, the yellow. He plays the Japanese.
Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that film or Kyoma simply because I can't relate to the outrageousness of the hair. If you cut off Kyoma's hair, Tom, put on a black hat, and when he goes 1, 2, 3, I'm into it.
You know whose fingers those are?
Kyoma, how are you going to avenge your dad?
You know whose fingers those are? Those are Enzo's.
Oh, awesome.
He put them in front of the camera and did 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Yeah. I love the trivia more than I did the film, Tom. But I know
I know.
I mean, people love Matalo, by the way.
I'm sure they do.
Matalo.
Yep.
So let's talk about Kyoma, Tom.
This now, Berger is playing father figures.
Oh, okay.
A couple of years before that, he was an equal to Franco Nero, and they were brothers or whatever. But now he's playing Franco's father. That's how far he's dropped as far as either his age. The way his drugs hit him or whatever. But Kyoma is a half-breed Indian who returns to his home after having fought in the Civil War. Unfortunately, his situation is much changed. The town is in the hands of the tyrant Caldwell, and everyone is against him except his stepfather, William Shannon, played by Berger. An old friend named George, with the help of both Kyoma, tries to return things as they were before his departure, but he will have to face off with his hated stepbrothers. So we got Kyoma Shannon, played by Franco Nero. William Shannon, played by William Berger, plays his father. Lisa, Olga Carlatos. George is played by Woody Strode. Caldwell the Tyrant, played by Donald O'Brien. Butch Shannon by Orso Maria Girini, Lenny Shannon by Antonio Marcina, and Cam or Sam Shannon played by John Lafredo. It's on both DVD and Blu-ray. It was 1975 film directed by Enzo Castellari, and the music was by Guido and Maurizio De Angelis. And the music turns a lot of people off because it's just really rough and gruff and not spaghetti like it at all. But Enzo told us that when he was editing the film, he listened to a lot of different types of music, and Simon and Garfunkel, and I can't think of the other.
Hello, Kyoma, my old friend.
No, it was a single singer that passed away not too long ago. Anyways, he listened to his music, and when it came time to do the score, he told Maurizio and Guido De Angelis that that's what he wanted them to make the music sound like. So Leonard Cohen, I'm sorry, that's who he was listening to.
Well, let me just tell you, that kills it. What is that lead track song, Kyoma?
Yeah,
that kind of kills it for me.
Shrill.
Get rid of the lead song, put in The Sound of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel, cut Nero's hair, even buzz cut it, make him bald like Mr. Clean, like Yul Brynner, anything.
Yeah.
And then I'd probably enjoy the film better. That's one of the only critiques I give of this film, and Enzo is screw you, right? It's one of my best films, but it's not bad.
It's his favorite film. Yeah, it is.
Well, anyway, Tom, let's show a quick clip, and I know you're going to take your headphones off because you can't stand the
Oh,
sound.
you going to play the music too?
Yeah. Forgot to mention Woody Strode is in this film. As I said, that's probably the best scene in the film, at least in my opinion. And it's, as I said, it's okay. I'm sure you remember, Tom, when you saw a screening with Enzo and Chris Casey, right, Tom?
That's right.
Where was that?
USC.
Oh, how long ago?
God, I'm trying to think. 4 years ago.
Oh, okay. So it's my best film. Anybody who hates it. So anyway, that's okay. We all have our favorites, Tom. Oh, by the way, I want to thank the one and only Lee Broughton and the Critical Thinking Spaghetti Westerns Association added me to their board of directors, Tom.
Did they finally get you on?
After 2 months of begging on my hands and knees, please give me just my name. How much does it cost? No worries.
Yeah, really.
But thank you once again. I've joined the elite squad. I know some of our devoted fan base, some are members of it as well. This podcast has now joined, Tom.
Good.
Awesome. So anyway, Kyoma was near the end of the spaghetti western phase, but I think it kindly said goodbye with a see you around sayonara with Gemma's California, Tom. What do you think?
Yeah, 77 was the last year. There were about three. A Man Called Blade came out at that time in California. And that was about the end of the genre. It's a shame because they finally got away from the comedies and went back to dramas. And then it was sort of like, that's the end of it. Just cut it off. So it was returning to decent films, but it was short-lived. But California was made in 77, Italian-Spanish, directed by Michel Lupo, music by Gianni Ferrio. Again, after the Civil War, two Union soldiers, California and Willie Preston, make their way home, but Willie is killed. California takes his friend's body home and is welcomed like a son by Mr. Preston, who's William Berger, and his wife. When Willie's sister is kidnapped, he sets out to bring her home. If you haven't seen this, it's one of the better westerns of the genre, and it probably has the best fight scene between William Harmsdorf and Juliana Gemma of the genre. And it goes on for, crying out loud, 10 or 15 minutes, but it's just excellent. This is available on DVD and Blu-ray. Michael California Random is played by Juliana Gemma. Roop Whitaker is played by Raymond Harmsdorf. Willie Preston is Miguel Bozé. His sister Helen Preston is Paola Bozé, his real sister. Mr. Preston is William Berger, and Mrs. Preston is played by Donna Gia. But that is it.
Right.
Check it out.
I think special mention to Silver Saddle, Tom.
Yeah, Silver Saddle. also. I think that was 78.
So, right, or coming at you, whatever you want to, wherever you want to put the last nail in the coffin. But I'm just kidding, just kidding. Or what was it, the Lone Ranger, Tom? The one that was made in like 85 or 86, or when they tried to bring it back and it failed miserably, that big bomb.
Oh.
The Lone Ranger movie?
The Lone Ranger. You're not
But
talking.
that guy who started it would have his own table at the autograph show, Tom.
Oh.
Tom and I would go to the autograph show out in California, the Ray Courts, I guess, celebrity autograph show in Burbank. It was there for about 20 years.
Yep.
Didn't know Tom back then. How did I know? I'd run into my new
Probably ran into
partner,
it, never knew it, yeah.
Or that he was doing Westerns all'Italiana. I would have sat down, picked his brain, and we would have robbed Ray Bradbury of his wallet. I met Ray down there. He was very nice. And a lot of other people in the genre. Forey Ackerman and some crazy actors, Gary Busey. You know, you see all these old-time actors who are signing autographs. And that's where we met. We saw Steve Reeves.
Steve Reeves, yep.
A bunch of these old spaghetti Western stars. If they made one or two, oh, look who's sitting there.
Yep.
And, you know, they're more than glad to talk to you about that time in their career. But everyone else is, tell me about Tarzan, Gordon Scott.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly.
Anyway, I guess, is that it? I think that's it for the films regarding the career of
well,
William
we could
Berger.
name the last three, even though we're not going to cover them, but because they're out of that time frame. But Texan and the Lord of the Deep is about Tex Willer, is a cartoon character that Gemma plays, and William Berger plays his right-hand man named Kit Carson. And he actually looks pretty good in this. He looks much younger than he did in Kyoma in California, but that was the last big role he had. He was also in Django Strikes Again, and a lot of people said he wasn't in that. I've seen that movie a bunch of times. He's not. There's a German version that has a prelude to the movie. Two old gunfighters come out and they start arguing who the best gunman was in the Old West, and William Berger plays one of the old gunfighters, and it's at the very beginning of the movie. So any of the American versions or whatever, you won't see them. But look for the German version, you will. And then one of your favorite movies I know is Buck at the Edge of Heaven, a White Fang movie, and he plays the father figure in this one too, Grandfather Thomas. In fact, he's so old in this one, he plays a grandfather.
Wow.
But it's a White Fang movie, and that one was 1991. That's my official end to his Western career.
Okay, and as we said to everybody, this is episode 14, the William Berger Banjo special, where we honor the career of one William Berger, more of a tragedy near the end of his life, like Peter Lee Lawrence did, and so many other Hollywood stars. As I said, TV movies, I'm on it, Tom. I'm writing the script. Peter Lee Lawrence, William Berger. You know, before the show's over, I might come up with another one. Anyway, so these films are great. You look at them, just like the films of Klaus Kinski or Fernando Sancho, they stand out. They made us want to do this show on him because certain actors, Tom, stand out. Because either their accent or the way they carry themselves or their smile. James Coburn, the great actor, Duck You Sucker and Our Man Flint, had a great smile. He would just show those white teeth in every movie he was in. President's Analyst, no matter what he did, one of those few people that can play himself. You know, James Coburn as himself.
James
like
Coburn,
the Duke, Humphrey
James
Bogart.
Garner was another one.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think William Berger is in a league where he
and Jay, you talk about the genre, his name always comes up. It's not like, you know, you and I have to mention and bring him like who? Can we get let's educate? No, he's always mentioned in the top top 10 actors.
It looks like I have his coffin behind me, Tom, and we're paying respects. Anyway, maybe we are. Be with you in a minute, Billy. No, one of my favorite actors like Klaus, Peter Lee Lawrence, some of the others that kind of didn't have a huge career but were great and had tragic endings. And that segues into Tom. We're going to talk a bit about the last years of William Berger and I guess the weird story surrounding him and his girlfriend or wife at the time.
His second wife, yeah. This is
Who I
This
just want to
is
set it up.
another one of these mysteries like Peter Lee Lawrence's death. It's mentioned,
Right.
and anybody who gets into Berger's life, this is the big event. And on August 4th, 1970, when Bill and Carol were spending a weekend at their villa with several friends in Priano, Amalfi, Salerno, Italy, the police broke into their house at 2 o'clock in the morning. Now, this is a villa. This is a huge house. While they were asleep and searched the place, they were kicked out of the villa while they did the search. So they weren't even allowed to object to the cops going into different rooms or their possessions or whatever. Anyways, a small amount of marijuana was found. Some suspect it was planted to get a conviction because, as we've mentioned before, both of William and his wife Carol had a reputation of having big and wild parties and playing around with drugs. So this was nothing new to the police. They finally decided enough is enough. We're going to bust these. Plus, Berger being an American, that was a no-no. And so they broke into the house and found the marijuana. Anyways, they were both arrested along with their friends. Berger was not released from jail until March of 1971. This took place in August. So you're talking about, what, 7 months later before he was let out? Later, all involved were acquitted in the trial. But Carol had not survived the experience. Suffering from hepatitis, she had been taken to a psychiatric hospital for criminals, where she had been tied to the bed when her condition had become worse. She was brought to a hospital in Naples when she was already in life endangerment and died of acute peritonitis. The other story is she had diabetes and was denied insulin and died from the result. But talking to people who knew them, Brett Halsey for one, and doing some research, it was hepatitis that she suffered from, not diabetes. Later, Berger married his third wife, singer-actress Hanja Kochanski, born in 1937, and they had a son named Casimir Berger, who's probably the most famous of the Berger kids. He was born in 74. He was also a stepfather of Katya Berger, daughter of Hanya, who took his last name. After his divorce from Kochanski, he married his fourth wife, Dorothy Voles, born in 1943. With her, he had a son named Alexander Voles. His fifth and last marriage was to Linda Berger from 1985 to 1989. Berger continued his acting career up until his last appearance in 1993 as Rosenbad in 18,000 Giorni Fa is the name of the movie. He died on October 2nd, 1993 in Los Angeles, California from prostate cancer. Remember, he came to California early in his career in the early 60s, and with she was not his wife, she was his companion, and he had two kids with her. And apparently the two girls lived out here in Los Angeles for the rest of their days. They're probably still alive. But anyways, Berger came out to stay with them and died here in Los Angeles. A lot of rumor about where he died, but that's where he died. Go ahead. One of my the book of the week has to do with Berger.
Okay, and he's right behind me.
There he is. Oh, there's right behind me.
Anyway, I dug him up, and it should be allowable to be able to dig up your heroes and put them next to you if you're going to do a podcast.
There you go.
So, no, as I said, he was the Richard Burton of spaghetti westerns. Played hard, drank hard, took psychedelics.
Party hard.
And Die Hard, right.
Die Hard.
But great film actor and what he did. As I said, I'd love to see who could play him. Interesting. So anyway, Tom, let's get to Book of the Week. What do you have for us?
It'd be difficult to see. This is called House of the Angels.
Show it up.
By Timothy Wilson.
House of,
huh?
There you go.
House of the Angels was the name of the Berger Villa. And so this book is all about his lifestyle and his life, what happened that night, the results of the trial and everything else. So you can get it on Aid Books. I looked it up yesterday for under $10. The price brand new is $8.95, and you can still find it probably at that price. It was published in 1974.
Yeah.
So it's it's from New York Viking Press. But it's a great read if you want to spend time. I just basically was interested in the arrest and the results of their imprisonment, so I just went to that section of the book. But it's still out there, still available. Pick up a copy.
Okay, and now time for the weekly news, Tom.
Weekly news. Da-da-da-da.
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay, weekly news. We do have a new DVD release called Per Poche Dollari Ancora, Fort Yuma Gold, directed by Giorgio Ferroni and starring Juliana Gemma, Sophie Domeyer, Angel Del Poza, Dan Vadas, Jacques Cernas. It was released in Japan. That's what this DVD was released by King Records, number KIBF-1813. It's a Blu-ray/DVD. It's a 2K restored edition, region 2, Dolby Digital, Italian, English with Japanese subtitles, running time of 100 minutes, so that's got to be full, no cut. That's a picture of the DVD jacket. All this stuff can be found tomorrow on my Westerns All Italiana Facebook page also if you missed anything. We do have one passing which happened today. A Spanish actor by the name of Manuel Gallardo, full name Manuel Gallardo Lachette, died in Madrid today. He was 85. He was born in Cardena, Cordoba, Andalusia, Spain on May 3rd, 1935. He was basically a stage actor, but also appeared in some 40 films and television series such as Verano Azul. He was married to actress Maria Jesus Lara and was the father of actress Nuria Gallardo. Manuel appeared in one Euro Western as Captain Burton in 1973's Another Try, Providence, with Tomas Milian. We have two birthdays that happened last week that Jay and I want to say happy birthday to. One was George Eastman. He turned 78 on August 16th. And on August 19th, Mariana Koch turned 89. Unbelievable. Makes you feel old.
Right. Well, thanks for the weekly news, Tom. And I think now it's time to, I guess, give a shout out to all the groups that make all this possible. But I just want to remind you, well, not all possible, that help continue the fan base to grow and grow. We start off with only a couple hundred, I guess, followers in the first month, and now we're at over 800 or something, or something close to 1,000.
I'm seeing on Facebook a lot of postings with the reviews of movies and stuff by some of the attendees here at the podcast, so it's spurring them on, so that's good.
Oh, yeah, it is. I see people are saying, we watched that movie based on a suggestion you guys made. Well, that's the least we can do.
Yeah, exactly.
And, right. And you're watching this on Facebook.com, and all of our podcasts are archived on YouTube. So go to Once Upon a Time in Spaghetti Westerns, the podcast, see our interviews with Robert Woods, with Brett Halsey, our roundtable discussion.
With the authors, yep.
With the top authors of the day. Our great interview with Fernando Betts. And that was a great interview, by the way. He left a cigar. Which
I left
cool.
my cigar.
Right. And so
I've had offers on the head already too, Jay.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Offers
well,
on the head.
Hopefully they're higher than mine. So anyway, let's thank, where are my, oh, here we are, the Spaghetti Western groups on Facebook. There's so many of them that allow me to post and get the word out regarding it. As soon as we hit 1,000, maybe I'll stop. But I have so many posters planned to share with you. So why should I? I mean, if Django or Klaus or Brett are in a poster and they're saying, watch tomorrow's episode, maybe that'll keep going. So that's fine. What do you say, Bill? Okay, he says to keep going. Anyway, let's thank those groups. Who do we got? We got, we've got first the SWDB, Tom. What do you say about that?
That's the best one.
Yeah. Thanks to Sebastian, who is on vacation.
Is he?
So, yeah, he's out on a boat somewhere with no internet.
Good for him. Is he wearing a mask?
He is. So it's the Spaghetti Western database. Let's see if I can. No, I guess that's all I can do. It's a great place to find all your needs, including books, top 20, pictures, reviews, Hall of Fame. Tom Betts uses it daily. So let's go to some of the other groups that are here that we could say thank you for allowing us to promote. It begins with Westerns all'Italiana, of course. And then we have 800 Spaghetti Westerns. Once Upon a Time in Italy. Spaghetti Westerns, the private group. Spaghetti Westerns movie posters. Of course, El Miglo del Western all'Italiana. Spaghetti Westerns Unchained for you Blu-ray collectors and fanatiques to Western Spaghetti. Of course, Opera Violence, Spaghetti Western Fan Club. And Hideki Uno and Hulk Janoon, our two buddies who let us show different videos without having to pay an arm and a leg because they know this is all for educational purposes. So, Tom, should we let the cat out of the bag as I get rid of this Chiron? Next week's show is what's our topic, Tom?
What are we going to call it? Tough guys?
No, Tom, we're calling spaghetti American actors of Spaghetti Western.
But they're tough guys.
Tough guys of the Spaghetti
All of them are tough guys, yeah.
Tough American actors of the Spaghetti Westerns. Or when times were a little tough, they came to Italy and made a Spaghetti Western. And we're going to have the films, the showcase the likes of Jack Palance and
Telly
Savalas and Broderick Crawford. And who else did we say, Tom, would join that group? Oh, Chuck Connors.
Chuck Connors, right.
So it's, I think, American actors of the Spaghetti Western. Stephen Boyd, Tom.
Okay, British.
Earl Ives, Tom. Orson Welles, Tom.
Orson Welles, yeah, we could Orson Welles.
Blood and Guns.
Sure.
One of my favorites. Hand me the gun.
Richard Conte will throw it. He made one, you know.
Van Heflin.
Van Heflin.
Right. I'm sure some others that are escaping me. But anyway, that's it, Tom, for that show on next week. I want to remind everybody, thank you for joining us here on High Noon Pacific Standard Time. It was 3 p.m. East Coast, 9 o'clock in the UK, 9 o'clock in the EU, and 8 o'clock in the UK, Tom. I've had 5 cups of coffee.
That's right.
Billy's been talking to me in the background during the whole show. He goes, did you cover Banjo? Yes, we did. We did, Billy. So I want to thank all of you for watching. Tune in next Friday. Same bat time, same bat channel with your dynamic duo of the Spaghetti Western. You'll never want to miss a show. And if you have, as I said, check out YouTube and, of course, Facebook, and you could see it all. So for myself, Jay Jennings, and Bill Berger, I'll say adios, amigos, Tom.
Adios, amigos.
We'll see you next week on Once Upon a Time in Spaghetti Western.